For more, let's turn to investigative journalist and founder of the Conscious Resistance Network, Derrick Broze. Derrick, were you surprised at all by the information released by Wikileaks today?
Unfortunately, not very surprised, and I don't think many people who've been paying attention will be surprised by these revelations, because WikiLeaks and whistleblowers like Edward Snowden and others have done a good job of letting us know not only what the CIA but the NSA and the long list of alphabet soup agencies in the United States, what those spy agencies are capable of. So this really shouldn't be much of a surprise. I think it's important because it gives us a fuller picture, but no, not surprised at all.
And why would the CIA need a tool like this designed to impersonate a private company?
Well, that's a good question. I think that there are some implications if we understand now, okay, the CIA and probably other agencies in the United States government have the ability to impersonate companies, to leave fingerprints and traces of other culprits if they choose. And why would they do this? Well, we know that part of espionage, especially in the United States, part of their strategy is to perform what are sometimes known as false flag operations, and that basically just means, perform an operation, a military operation, intelligence operation, and leave the flag of a different person behind, so to speak, or the fingerprints and the traces of another person. So it could be a tool for misdirection. It could be a tool for blaming their enemies for crimes they didn't commit.
Despite swirling accusations, as our reporter mentioned, Kaspersky has consistently denied cooperating with any government entity. Should it be taken at its word?
I think that's up to the public to decide who they want to trust, whether it be the U.S. government, the company themselves, the labs themselves. I do know that the company opened its source code up for inspection, so those who are able to read code can go in there and can look into their code and see if it has the capabilities that the U.S. government is claiming that it has. And I think it's important for the individual to do that, not just to take the U.S. government, or for that matter the Russian government or any government, at their word, and to do their own research and to decide who they really trust.
Right, and how do you believe the Vault leaks by WikiLeaks are useful to journalists in understanding how the Central Intelligence Agency functions?
Well, we're in a really interesting age as journalists. Those of us who are out there in the field actually trying to report information. There is such a huge field now that has emerged because of what is now what is called big data, which that is the collection of all of our information, be it from the internet, from cell phones, computers, all that information that intelligence agencies are gathering, that corporations are gathering, private firms are gathering. And by studying that information, governments can learn a lot about people, companies can learn a lot about their customers, but also the reverse of that is, with them collecting all this information and also governments creating more and more programs and intelligence tools, the journalists are now able to take that information to try to study it, to look at all the various areas and to see what we can find out, what's really going on behind closed doors, because the governments are not going to give up their information voluntarily. They're not going to tell the public that they have these tools. They're just going to continue to operate in secret behind closed doors, as they've done for generations. And it's up to journalists now to figure out how we can work around these tools, because it is becoming less and less safe to be a journalist. If you know that you're being tracked, monitored, and that we also know that there are emerging technologies such as voice recognition capabilities and facial recognition capabilities, and the idea that a company or a government could use a technology that could actually not just leave behind some traces of a company that had nothing to do with something, but we're getting to the point where they can actually create faces out of computer programs and recognize voices and replicate those as well. And that gets into some very scary areas. So I think we have an interesting time ahead, and it's up to journalists to be able to dodge all that and to try to still maintain some level of objective reporting.
Investigative journalist, founder of Conscious Resistance Network, Derrick Broze, appreciate your analysis this afternoon.